This morning we are making history in Knesset Israel, since it's the first time we have the completion, the Siyum of Tractate Shabbat here this morning, not only by your rabbi, but also by people who attend the classes. And one of the really amazing things that happened here is the fact that I walk in this building about 10 to 6 in the morning when there's ice and snow outside, and I see people standing and waiting to study together Daf Yomi. So as part of this great sanctification of God's name, Kiddush Hashem, I would like to ask several people to partake of this Siyum.
I'm going to give sort of a general introduction and talk about the Tractate Shabbat, sort of in general, give you a general overview of it. We learn in the Torah that there are two commandments regarding the Shabbat. First of all, to remember the Shabbat, Zachor, and then to keep the Shabbat, Shamor. In addition to that, there's one mention in the Torah regarding kindling a fire on Shabbat specifically. Other than that, all the remaining things we're not supposed to do on Shabbat are derived from the Torah. Now we learned in Tractate Brachot that the sages would implement stricter regulations in order to try to prevent people from inadvertently breaking a Torah regulation. And so they call that building fences, so that essentially it would prevent us from doing that. So oftentimes the sages would have stricter requirements than directly derived from the Torah. There are 39 melachot that we learned about, 39 different activities that are violations of the Shabbat. These are derived from what was required as part of erecting and building the Mishkan. So it includes things like, building in general, even sewing and so forth because of the curtains and various things that were made like that, planting in order to get various things that were needed for the Mishkan and so forth. So there are many melachot that we learned about during this. Basically, we learn in the tractate, we study almost all of these melachot, and there's a lot of things to learn. It's a very long tractate, 157 pages, and it's a very important tractate for learning about Shabbat and starting to learn about what we can and can't do on Shabbat. So I'm going to ask Gilbert Gonzalez, who's one of our students here in the class that we have every day, to come up and talk a little bit about the tractate as well.
First of all, I want to take this time to thank Rabbi Moshe Weisblum in bringing the study of Daf Yomi for those who seeking deep understanding and the pathway of Torah, and teaching all to delve into the Talmud. I must say previously I made several attempts in studying Talmud, but I was unsuccessful. Consequently, when I began studying with Rabbi Weisblum, everything started to come to light. And as I come every day and started to study Talmud, I decided I want to really persevere until I get it. So every morning before I come to Talmud class, I started to pray King David prayer of Tehillim 1:19-80, which say, Hashem, open my eye so that I may see the wonder of your Torah, because from your mouth, Hashem, give wisdom and understanding. So also I continue to study with Rabbi Weisblum's guidance, and everything started to come to light. During my study, I became interested in Tractate Shabbat, in particular with the 39 prohibited acts of labor and Shabbat. The Torah placed two obligations upon us regarding the Sabbath: to remember the Sabbath and to sanctify it, and to refrain from performing any labor. The Mishna term forbidden labor, the Mishna term for forbidding labor is melaha. One who perform melaha on the Sabbath are committed a capital offense and punishable by stone. we learn that a capital offense cannot be executed unless an individual acting deliberately with the knowledge that what was doing was prohibited. A person who performs a melah inadvertently is not liable to the death penalty or caress. However, an individual requires atonement, namely a shatan offering. An inadvertent transgression is one in which is the violation the result or lack of knowledge rather than a willful disregard of the law. The violation may result in one or three errors. First, an awareness of the law of Shabbat. Second, an awareness of the specific act of prohibited on the Shabbos. An awareness of what that is the Sabbath day. As we see in Exodus 28-9 clearly state, remember the Sabbath day, sanctify it. 6 days shall you work and perform your labor, but on the 7th day is the Sabbath for Hashem your God. You shall not perform any labor. I would like to encourage everyone to come to Daf Yomi class every morning. It's a great benefit because I didn't know nothing about Talmud. I was afraid to come, and during this time I come in, everything started coming clear to me. And I thank Rabbi Moshe and David who have mentored me and helped me through this. Thank you.
Cool.
Okay. David. To the next.
Good morning, everybody. First of all, I'd like to wish a very yasher koach, a mazel tov to Rabbi Weisblum, David Siyum, and Gilbert Gonzalez on this wonderful occasion of the Siyum of Masechet Shabbos. It's a huge undertaking, and I think it's very fitting that it happened, that it fell out, that we're doing it today. My father's yahrzeit is today. We actually finished the tractate on Friday, and there were a few events at the synagogue this week, and the synagogue has grown since Rabbi Weisblum has been here, has grown in Yiddishkeit. We have a Daf Yomi program. Additionally, we had a beautiful bar mitzvah this week of Sam Leibowitz, who's a member of a family whose parents, Steve and Dory Leibowitz, showed what a model example of commitment to Judaism is. They come every day. Their son helps the rabbi hold the yad for the Torah. Their son is a very fine gentleman, and it showed yesterday when he was reading the Torah, when he was davening Musaf. And I remember it's fitting that it happened on my father's, that the bar mitzvah was right around the time of my father's yahrzeit, because when I was saying Kaddish for my father 4 years ago, they were here every Saturday night for Havdalah. So I think that's just very fitting, and I'd like to wish a very special mazel tov to them, as I referenced yesterday. Now, GEMARA Shabbos is very, very special because it hits on a number of issues which David and Gilbert have expressed with regard to the Lamites Malachos and the different domains you're allowed to carry in Rishus Harabim, Rishus Hayachid, Rishus Harabim, Makarmelis, and Makom Pator, and also talks about different Eruvim. But I wanted to focus on one specific issue which I touched upon yesterday, and I have to give credit to my chavrusa, Meir Kranis, for this. Meir is a student at Ner Yisrael, and he has partaken in our chavrusa program, and he has been a wonderful chavrusa and inspired me to learn. And Rabbi Salzman also has inspired me with his wonderful shiurim as well. So one of the aspects I'm going to hit on is on Daf Kufya Tes Amud Aleph, on Daf 119a. It talks about how when Shabbos starts, how you greet in the Shabbos, and how Shabbos differentiates from other days of the week. Shabbos, when Shabbos comes in, everybody dresses nicely, and in addition, everybody changes the clothes to show respect for the Shabbos. Also, there's a custom to have a white tablecloth. A white tablecloth on Shabbos symbolizes the Mizbeach, and the reason it symbolizes the Mizbeach is because it's a commemoration on Shabbos. It's fitting to have the symbolization of the Mizbeach with the white tablecloth on Shabbos. And there's, in the GEMARA, I'll just read very briefly, Rav Kanina, what he does is he stands towards the evening on Friday, and he wraps himself in finery with tzitzis, and he says, Boi v'netze likra Shabbos v'nelcha, come let us go, and to greet Shabbos the Queen. And also Rav Yanai basically would put on his Shabbos clothes and say, Boi kala, as we say on Licha Dodi every Friday night. So on that note, I'd like to call upon Rabbi Weisblum to do the Siyum. Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you all. Let's just do a quick Siyum. Those mourners, please join me. The special Kaddish we're going to do very soon. It's a little long Kaddish. It's applied just when we do Siyum. ומדבריהם למדנו, I'm just reading the last few lines, ומדבריהם למדנו שפוקקים ולומדים וקושרים בשבת, אולה יקלה לבריש גלותה, is a story about Ula who went to the exterior home, חזל לרבא בר רבונה, דיאתי באבנה דמאיה, וכמשך לאמר לאמא דאמר רבנן מדנה למצווה עליו, ושמצווה מימו אמר להם מתעסק בעלמא, אנא אדרן לך מי שהחשיך, וסליק על המסכת שבת. Now I'm just repeating this line saying that we're going to revisit this tractate, אדרן לך מסכת שבת, ואדרך לך נתן לך מסכת שבת, ולתך לך ונתן שמינך מסכת שבת, ונתן שמינן לבעל מדין ולבעל מדעתי, אדרן לך מסכת שבת, ואדרך לך נתן לך מסכת שבת, ולתן לך ונתן שמינך מסכת שבת, ונתן שמינן לבעל מדין ולבעל מדעתי, אדרן לך מסכת שבת, ואדרך לך נתן לך מסכת שבת, ולתן לך ונתן שמינך מסכת שבת, ונתן שמינן לבעל מדין ולבעל מדעתי. Now I'm going to read a list of 10 sons of Rav Papa, who was not only a great sage but also the peacemaker. Many times in the Talmud, when there's a heavy disputation, you see one of his sons' name that involved with reconciliation. יהי רצון לפניך נאור ואהבתנו, שתהיה את תורתך אמנתנו בעולם הזה לתן עמנו לעולם הבא, חנינא בר פפא, רמי בר פפא, נחמן בר פפא, אחי בר פפא, אבא מרי בר פפא, רפרם בר פפא, רכיש בר פפא, סורחב בר פפא, עדה בר פפא, אדר בר פפא. Now we ask God to help us continue study Torah and have it throughout other people as well as our future generation. הרב נא אדוני נבראת אותך בפינו ופרט עמך בישראל, ונהיה כולם אנחנו צאצאנו וצאצאי עמך בישראל, כולם נהיה שמך ולמדו אותך לשמה. ומאויבי תחכמני מצוותיך כולם מילי וידבין וחוקיך למען ולבוש, כולם ולשכח פקודך וכולם מגמצני, ברוך אתה אדוני למדני חוקיך, אמן, 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 סלע ועד. Now we have a special thank you to God for reaching out this milestone. מודים אנחנו לפניך אלוהינו לאבותינו, ששמת חלקנו יושבי המגרש ושמנו חלקנו יושבי קרנות. You help us to be part of these people who study and not people who waste their life in vanity. שאנו משכימים והם משכימים, אנו משכימים דברי תורה ומשכימים דברים ותהילים. We wake up to hear the word of Torah and they wake up to watch the news. אנו עמלים והם עמלים, אנו מקבלים שכר ונמלים ובנם מקבלים שכר. We have a labor and they have a labor. We have a labor in a sense, study Torah even you don't understand anything. But you are there, you get the reward. In the business world, you get the reward only for your accomplishment. אנו רצים והם רצים, אנו רצים לחיי העולם הבא, אנו רצים דברי שחת שנאמר, ותאמרים תפקידיהם דברי שחת שתאמרים ויחצו מהם ונתרווח. We ask God to help us continue in carrying this important mission. יהי רצון לפניך לאלוהי, שכשם שלכם לסיים מסכת שבת, כן תרזינו להכין בסרט ובספרים אחרים לסיימם, ללמוד ללמד לשמור מסור לקיים את כל דברי תלמודיך באהבה, וזכות כל התלמידים והמורים תלמידי חכמים יעמוד לי וזרי, שלא תמוש את רם גלים וזרי וזה וזרי עד עולם, ותקיים בי להתחלך אחד, תנחה אותך בשבילך, תשמוך עליך ובקצור ותצפי אליך כבי ימוי עמך וסוב לך שנות חיים. אורך ימים בימין עם ישמעאל אשר לכבוד אדוני צבאות, אדוני עוז לנו ייתן לה יברך תמו בה שלום. Please, mourners join me in the second part. יתקדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ואמר ועתיד ויתח אדם, ולאחי הביתיה, ולעסקה יהון לחיי עלמא ולבני קרתד ירושלים, ולשחרר להיכלי בגבה ולמיכר פולחן הנוכרה מנערה, ולעתיו הפולחן הדשמיא לאתרי וימליך קודש אבריך ומלכותי ויקרא ויצמח פורקנה ויקרא משיחי. ובחי יכון ויומכון וחיי לכל בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן קריב יגלו אמן. יתברך וישתבח פעל ותשמע ונעשה ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל ושמי קודש אבריך לילה מכל ברכתה ושיר הצעת ושבחתה ונחמתה גם אינם ואומה וידלו אמן. על ישראל והרבנן ועל תלמידינו ועל כל תלמידינו ועל כולם ועל דאורייתא ועל צעדים ודי בכל התורה יהיה למקום שבחורה ברכינה וחיסדה ברחמים וחיים לבתים וזון ולביחי כל קנה וקדם אמון ונשמע והלאה ואמרו אמן. ישמעו הרב נשמע וחיים טוב ומולים ללא כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומה ורחמיו יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. Thank you all for coming. Please stay for Rabbi Salzman's shiur, following a special refreshment sponsored by David and Helen Cohen.
Please help yourself, and it's in memory of my father's